And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Women are still fighting for an equal paycheck compared to their male counterparts. Now, according to a new study from the Pew Research Center, that pay gap hasn't shifted much in 20 years. Back in 2020 or 2002, women were making 80% as much as men. And in 2022, that number changed to 82%. Certified public accountant Ed Gardner lays out why it hasn't seen much progress as of yet. Why haven't we seen parity pay when it comes to men and women yet in 2023?
We have to go back with a little history. Back in 1963, President Kennedy came up with the Equal Pay Act. And back then it was a little less than 60% women were making compared to men. And in today, as an average for all races, it's about 77%. And then back in 1993, President Clinton came up with the Family Leave and Medical Act, where whether you're a man or woman, your job would be protected. You were allowed to take at least 12 weeks off, you know, when you had birth of a child. So a lot of people say that that really hasn't helped a lot because women statistically have taken off about 4 times what men have taken off. And of course, some factors that are causing the disparity in pay is not only race and color, but also that women do take the time off when they give birth to a child. And then sometimes they have to take some time off when children get sick. Well, white females get about 77% of what men get. And then when we go into Black women, for example, they get about 64 cents. Latino women get about 58 cents, and Native American get about 51 cents. And they have found that in the lower level wages that there's not much disparity. But of course, as we actually go on to higher pay, there's a bigger increase. In fact, what's interesting, Isaiah, is more women graduate college than men do. But even with an advanced college degree, there's still a disparity in wages today.
And it's all, I would think, Ed, about valuing the worker, and men are still more valued by some employers than women.
Unfortunately, that's true, but also they look at women may have to take some time off for a sick child. So that has some impact on it. And they had hoped that the Family Leave and Medical Act would really have made a bigger difference, but in reality, it really hasn't helped that much other than allowing people to know that they can come back to their job when they take the up to 12 weeks off.
Any hope down the line for parity for women, or it's just employers have to learn to do the right thing?
Unfortunately, unless Congress mandates something, it's the employers have to do the right thing. And it's important for the grassroots to step up and talk to their elected officials to make changes in the law.
And of course, let's continue our conversation here with our guest, employment attorney Alfonso Kennard, and real estate investor Alicia. See, you're waiting on me to screw it up.
No, it's nice. It's nice.
Huh?
It's nice. You said it very nice.
And CEO of the ARI source, Crystal Sarmiento.
We worked on that. Hey, that was good.
That was close.
We gave you a hard time.
But ladies, when you hear those statistics that in 2023 we are still behind with pay parity for females in this country, and then when you break it down to race, you have white females at about 70%, Black females at about 60%, and Hispanic females at 50% of the dollar compared to men. Your thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on that. Being a Latina business owner myself, I specialize in helping women negotiate their salaries. And there are studies out there that say oftentimes, yes, there's racial disparities, but there's also the value of a woman where she doesn't know what she can ask for. Whereas men tend to come to the table and they're not afraid to ask for a higher paying salary, where oftentimes women will lowball themselves. And so oftentimes we need to know what our values are. Where is that negotiating power? What value do we bring? oftentimes too, I've also, you know, I work one-on-one with women as well, women leaders, and we've also heard that some women are not willing to do the more dangerous job that men are. And that's not really, I would say, looked on it as what people like to hear, right? It's something that's uncomfortable to talk about. But as a business coach, I like to empower women to say, when you're your own business owner, there is no gap. You are in control of the money you make. Now, if you want to reverse engineer...
Now, how do you change that mentality for women who may feel like, I can't go and ask for what men are getting or demanding?
100%. And I believe it comes back down to males are designed to make money. And even when they go to college, and I believe that study that he was referring to was based on professionals. When we look at, you know, business owners, or we look at women in the workforce, and they're not really in the professional side of things, oftentimes we see that they just don't go after those high-paying jobs. So we need to work with them and say, you can do that.
Okay, let's hear from you on this.
No, she's totally correct. I think one of the things as a business owner myself and in a partnership with my husband, we're both investors. So a lot of the times when we go into the field, it's very male dominated. So a lot of the questions are geared towards him and not to me. And I'm just as prepared.
What does that feel like for you when they're looking past you?
So I kind of expected. I kind of know that that's going to come. I just know that that's it's something that happens all the time. And I assert myself. I assert my confidence. I come in with my knowledge. I come in with research. As a woman in a very male-dominated field like real estate investment, and I have to come in research, and I look at properties, I look at numbers, I look at profitability, I look at margins. And once the men realize that I come in with knowledge base, I think they kind of step back and say, okay, she's actually here with some knowledge, and she's got some background. But it is a little tough at the beginning. It's kind of like, you know, you got to like remind yourself that sometimes they're just not accustomed to that.
Alfonso, let's hear from you. What would be your best advice for women out there? We asking a man, what's the best advice?
Well, you know, very in tune.
But you're an employment attorney. You're there in the courtroom with
men
them,
have good
and
advice
they're not
too.
treated fairly.
Absolutely. Look, so beyond that, I'm also a single father to 2 girls. On top of that, I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I run a law firm. I run other businesses. And so that's something for us that we don't ever put into an equation where we are actively going to pay women less. We pay for the quality of work, regardless of your gender. Now, so my best advice to women is know your worth at the end of the day. So I disagree with my co-panelists here. Negotiating a salary, whether you're a man or a woman, is always a red flag for an employer. Unless you've been an employer, you don't know that. There are set pays. The problem is not with a woman or even a man's ability to negotiate a salary. It's with the established salaries that are in place. So if you go to a potential employer and you realize that I'm being underpaid compared to the men in this same facility, then I would probably go somewhere else. Now, so I heard the expert you had earlier. These folks are talking about the laws not being in place. Go talk to your congressman. No, the laws are in place. It's called the Lilly Ledbetter Act, the Equal Pay Act. These are in place. It's a function of, if you think you have been discriminated against and pay less, you need to contact a lawyer, contact HR, do something.
Okay, all right. Thank you guys for joining us. We need much more time, but we just don't have it.